Hello, welcome back to my channel, and indeed welcome to my new plot extension. I think I'm going to effectively double my growing space for 2025, in-ground growing space that is, not including the polytunnel and the fruit cage. And it's time to get it ready for the new growing season. It is, after all, the spring equinox, so time is running out to get this ready to start planting into. I've spent a couple of hours digging out as many docks as I could find, and there was some creeping buttercup in places as well. Now I've ended up getting a whole barrow full of docks out of here, and when you look at the length of the roots on them, it is absolutely the right thing to have done to dig these out. Unfortunately, it also means that I can't pick this barrow up, it's too heavy for me, so I'm going to have to wait until Duncan has finished muck spreading to be able to move this out of the way for me. But we'll crack on and get prepared to put the membrane down. First task is trying to pull back as much of the wood chip as I can from the join at the edge of the membrane. It's not going to be perfect, but it is a bit of an effort. I forgot how thick the path was in places. Now I'm pretty happy with that. I know the ground is quite unlevel in that area, but it was in here and I kind of leveled it up by just using more wood chip in areas than others, and that's what I plan to do again. This box is very heavy with this membrane in it. I think I've got a start point here, and even though I'm going to unfold it, I'm going to try and just peg down the very end here so it doesn't roll away. Now I'm hoping that I can just roll it out. And it'll get lighter the more length I do. I should not have bought a 100-metre roll. I've called in reinforcements. Getting the membrane down seemed harder work than I remember it doing when we did this plot here, but I'm pleased to say it's all in place, and I'm just going to rake the wood chip back over this edge here, because this is going to be a path. Now obviously this part of the extension is going to be treated exactly the same as when I did the original beds. So whilst there's membrane down here, ultimately it's just going to be in the paths. I'm going to be cutting the membrane within each raised bed. It looks a bigger space somehow now, doesn't it? Now it turns out I well and truly messed up, because even Duncan can't pick the wheelbarrow up. So, doing a bit of shifting. Now before I can plan exactly how the beds are going to be on the extension, I want to move this bench up there. I want this harvest picnic bench to be the central hub of the plot, right where that grey bench has been previously. So now I need to see whether me and Duncan can actually lift this up, flip it on its side and carry it up there, because I'm not so sure. Right, that's halfway there. Oh, I'm so excited. He's going to sit on the wood chip here a bit, Duncan. He doesn't need to go all the way over. Oh, no, I can't lift it. I'm really happy with the bench position there like that. You can see that I can still get past it with the wheelbarrow, because this will be another wide path, the same as the one the other side, and I am looking to buy 2 more archways as well. So now I can start planning this space around this table, and for some reason I've got even more space behind the table to the fence than I expected. 5 more beds here, exactly the same as these. Then I need to do this side so that I can find out what will happen to blend it all together along the fence line at the back. I've got some fruit trees to plant, so I really need to get these beds sorted. One of the ideas I've got is to have the same beds again mimicked there. So what I'm going to do is take the top one out of all of these, just to line them up, just to see how that works for me. I couldn't get one screw undone, so I will just put it this way for now. Now, I didn't much care for the idea of having those beds again repeated here. The more I kept looking at it, the more I thought, that's not going to work for me. I want these fruit trees and a nice pollinator highway here, this close to the polytunnel. Now, I've measured the centre of where this bed may well come to, because I think it's actually going to be a little bit wider than this, and that is 10 feet away from the polytunnel. So even at the maximum height of the trees that I plan to put here, they shouldn't actually be able to hit the polytunnel if they were to fall flat into them. And the whole point of me putting this row of cordon fruit trees here is to provide some dappled shade for the polytunnel, because if you've been following me for a while, you'll remember that the tomatoes really struggled with the heat in early summer last year because there is simply no shade this side of the polytunnel. So this is hopefully going to be a quite natural solution to just help them out a little bit. Now I am going to go and get those fruit trees now and see if they will fit in this bed. This is one complete length of the Yorkshire boarding, so it's 4.8 metres long. I'm hoping to leave a space at the back because I want to have a raspberry hedge at the back here. I have to say, I wish I'd finished this yesterday because it's very windy this morning. Very windy. This purple haze was the one that I wanted in the middle. Now, cordon trees only need a couple of feet space between them. And the last one is this green gauge. As I've said, the growing instructions for these say they only need to be 2 feet apart. So I'm just going to see just how far 2 feet apart would be. So that's more than 2 foot there. That's absolutely fine. Now, this purple haze isn't actually a true cordon, it just grows in a very columnar fashion. So I'm going to give this one a little bit more space because it does grow a tiny bit bigger than the others. So there's 3 foot that side, 3 foot that side, and then there's well over 2 foot there. So they fit just perfectly. Oh, they're going to have it 1.20 m wide, so I need to get the side pieces cut and get some screws, get them fitted together, staple all the membrane up, fill it full of things and get these planted because we have a lot of rain forecast tomorrow, which is just perfect to get these watered in. The next job is cutting the membrane. Now, to fasten the membrane up, Duncan has an electric cordless stapler now. So I'm going to give that a go. I don't know how to use it, but oh gosh, that's fierce. Well, that took a lot longer than I anticipated. And it was harder work than I thought. But as I have to dig these trees in much deeper than, say, the raspberry canes that I'm about to plant, I really do feel like digging this over was the right thing to do. Next stage is getting some manure. I don't fancy wearing my little pumps to do that job. So I'm going to change them for wellygogs. Oh, lost my sock already. Now before I do anything else, I've just noticed I've forgotten to put the support brackets in. So I was going to have one about there and one about there. And the idea behind these is just to stop the bed from bowing out when it starts getting full of compost. But I think I'm happy that this is where this bed is going to go. It seems an awfully big bed for raspberry canes, but I guess I can plant up around it as well. And now, once again, I get to use the power stapler. Now in this raspberry bed, I am going to go for the usual cardboard method of no digging. Duncan's just had to bring the cardboard across for me though, because it's very, very windy and it was like a sail. I couldn't actually carry it. It was just blowing away with me. I got this cardboard from the local bike shop. This is one box. Wow. And hopefully that'll stay put now it's been tucked under. Look at that for service. Thank you, Duncan. Look at the state of my nice new barrow top. Now it's time to start getting the compost in the bed, which actually has gotten very dry over this last couple of weeks because we've been quite fortunate with the weather. But that is all about to change tomorrow, which is why I am trying my hardest to just get these trees in the ground today, because I'll be well watered in then. Well, this vegetable topsoil that I've just been putting in here is from the same company that I've had all of my compost from throughout building this plot. But I have to say, this did not seem as good quality as what I've previously had. You might be wondering why I've left the tap here, because obviously this was against the fence originally. But I decided that I'd rather have it a bit more central in the plot than right by the new fence line now. Would be a bit of a stretch for the hose to get to the bottom of the garden. So I was quite happy to have it here and just have the post attached to the corner of the bed. Now I need to remember which order I was doing them, don't I? So Pink Glow here is the crab apple, which is a universal pollinator, which is why I've chosen it. Genevieve plum next. The spacing's to be reviewed. This is the purple haze apple. Is that the middle of the bed? I don't know. Maybe that is. This here is the green gauge. And then this apple tree for the end is called Elstar. And if you remember, I said I wanted to give the purple haze just a little bit more room than the others because it does spread that bit further. Now all I need to do is get them planted. Now I'm not going to worry about making the hole too big because the ground is not compacted around them anyway. As you've seen, I've just put the soil in here, so the roots shouldn't have any trouble at all in spreading out. Now my planting instructions from Pomona Fruits did actually say to put some fish blood and bone in the bottom of each hole. I know it's a bit of a contentious subject about whether you give them extra fertiliser now or whether you want them to look for the nutrients, but I'm doing what it said on the instructions. These were bare roots and they were only recently planted in here. And obviously I need to keep that graft above soil level. One down. I'm going to crack on and get the rest done, and I'll come back to you when I've finished. Now I'm extremely happy with how this has turned out. I've planted them all up now. I've put stakes in the ground for all of them and fastened them with tree ties. Now these are only temporary stakes. I will be buying some longer ones for them, but hopefully they will hold them until I do that. I've basically created my own mini orchard just from 5 cordon fruit trees. And it just goes to show that even if you've only got a regular suburban back garden, there's still room to put in cordon fruit trees. You could line those down a fence line of your garden. I need to get the raspberry bed filled up next, but they aren't the only beds that we have built today, because Duncan has also built another 5 beds here, which are exactly the same size as the 10 beds that are already outside the front of the polytunnel. So that now leaves us with the rest of the space to plan and decide exactly what we're going to do with it. And there's more space than I anticipated, because I still have all of this space here. So I'm far from finished in planning what I'm going to do with this expansion. I'm going to fill the compost in the raspberry bed next and get those canes planted up, but it is going dark, so I won't be able to film that for you. But in next week's video, I'll catch up with you and I'll let you know the varieties that I've planted and why I've chosen to plant the type of canes that I have. I hope you're as excited about the plot extension as I am. I'll catch you in the next video. Look after yourselves. Bye.